Hey guys, what's up? I am at PAX East 2023 over at the Yacht Club Games booth, and I'm here with
Alec.
I'm
Alec Faulkner,
the head of the mind of Mina the Hollower. We're here in the media room. Oh my goodness! And we're about to play some of the Mina the Hollower demo here, and I'm gonna give Alec the mic, and he's just gonna talk while I'm getting some off-camera gameplay here. We're gonna see where this goes. We're gonna try something a little different this time. It's gonna be cool. We're like a little box. This is gonna be dope. Watch this. All right.
Cool.
Cool.
So this is the second time we've shown off the game. One big difference from last time is in the meantime, we've added more weapons to the game. The Night Star is her whip. It's kind of her bread and butter, most default weapon. But we have a couple other options this time. With the dual daggers, you can attack a little bit faster. You can throw one of the daggers and retrieve it. The hammer is slow, but very, very powerful. Your classic archetypes, basically.
Right, so give us a TLDR of Mina the Hollowers, like the premise of this one.
So you play as Mina. She's that little mouse you're controlling on the screen right there. She's a whip-wielding, adventuring inventor hollower. She can burrow through the ground at really high speeds. And she's come here to Tenebrous Isle to check on her work. But things have gone awry, you know? Unexpectedly, all of her spark generators she's set up to power the island seem to be malfunctioning, and you're gonna get to the bottom of those mysteries and find out for yourself what's going on Tenebrous Isle.
So already up front, I'm getting like Link's Awakening, Game Boy Color.
Absolutely. Link's Awakening is a beautiful, amazing game, and clearly a big inspiration. There's a little bit of that in there. There's a lot of Castlevania. I'd say the impetus for the idea was like classic Castlevania games, 1 and 3 especially, are very near and dear to my heart, and they have some really interesting, tense, deliberate combat. What would it look like if you applied that sort of thing to a more open adventure game from a top-down perspective? I don't think any games tried that mix before. So there's a lot of the Castlevania in the DNA, a lot of Link's Awakening, and weirdly enough, a lot of Bloodborne worked its way in there too.
I said that the Burrow mechanic, like you said, like Hollow Knight's whole thing was like the Scrooge McDuck shovel bounce. So hers is the Burrow.
Yep. When we make games, we like to create really, really strong core mechanics that excite us and evoke our imagination. Core mechanics that we can riff on and say, oh, it'd be so cool, you know, if she could burrow into a little tube and then you could go really fast. It'd be cool if you could burrow under an enemy. It'd be cool if you could burrow under a fence. Maybe some secret walls, or you know, only Mina can burrow underneath them. It gives us a lot of room to play with new concepts and ideas that we haven't thought about before.
It's also making it feel already really interesting puzzle solving. And it's also I'm getting some I'm relearning how to play games like this, because I'm this is a Zelda game. You can't just go around these. No, you can just go under them. You can do that now. So can you explain what I'm looking at on the left here? So right here is her primary weapon, and then we have healing vials.
That's where your sidearm will go if you have one. You don't have one yet, but you'll pick one up in 2 or 3 screens probably. These are your healing vials, and the way the healing system works is pretty interesting. Try breaking this wall over here. I can demonstrate it. Go grab a goodie. On your way back, an enemy is going to spawn in. As you attack him, watch your health bar. It's going to build some yellow meter right here. That's not health quite yet, but if you hit circle, then she'll drink whatever's in her vial, and you'll get that amount of health back. So you need to be aggressive to build that charge, but you need to play defensively to actually suck it down and get the health back.
So it's like a reserve system type of thing.
Yeah, it's a little bit of Bloodborne-y rally mechanic. I need to attack the enemies to steal their health, mixed
so
with
play a little aggressive here.
Right. Now we get a beautiful little panorama scrolling down. on a Game Boy game, you know, it has to be like so zoomed out and the pixels are so like tiny that it can be hard, I think, sometimes to get a sense of like what the world really looks like. So every time you go to a new area, we show you a beautiful painting, basically, of like trying to evoke your imagination of what that area might actually look like from her perspective.
So, Mina, what is a hollower exactly?
A hollower is someone that is so good at burrowing through the ground, they do it professionally, you know? I would say it's the difference between being like, you know, I dabble in like writing music versus like I'm a maestro, you know? So using her burrowing, she's able to go around the island and set up all of her amazing inventions. You can see one such thing in here. Here's her underlab where she tinkers on new inventions. There's a couple of doofuses in here to teach you about some of its features.
So, like, I remember I was in one of these a little bit earlier, so this is like a reoccurring scene, but there's going to be different characters depending on the context of where you are.
Yeah, you can think about this like your checkpoint. You know, you always come back here if you fall in battle. And you can always come back here to swap out your gear, equip new weapons.
Okay, what's this doohickey right here?
This is the Bone Stone machine. So if you back out real quick, you can see bones here, the currency you've been picking up. You got 137 right now. If you fall in battle, there's the opportunity to lose those bones, but sometimes you'll pick up bone stone, which is like condensed and compressed bones, basically. That yellow diamond you got earlier was a little bit of that. So even if you die, like, there's still an opportunity to save a banked version,
and then you
essentially.
Can use, like, the currency to probably like upgrade things later on.
So if you go back in there and use it, press like left a few times, you can go over here, press like down, you can grab it all. If you confirm, then it'll convert that stuff back into bones and spit them back out. They work as a currency, so you can like buy new upgrades with them. Sometimes you can buy like a small key with them. But it's also a means to upgrade. If you collect enough bones, Mina will take out her journal and she'll bone up on one of a few categories, like attack or defense. Yeah, the whip's all about the range. You can break the candles, kind of like a Castlevania. There's your first sidearm, the Volt Hatchet. And if you press triangle, you can throw those, but they use these little magic resource that you're picking up.
So I remember Shovel Knight when that first came out. That was kind of like a little bit of a Nintendo exclusive indie darling type of situation. Is this however going to be like on pretty much everything at launch?
Yeah, we can't confirm like the final platforms right now, but you know it'll be our intention to bring this game to as many places as possible.
Gotcha.
You know, Shovel Knight was on like 3DS, Vita, Wii U, PS3, PS4, Xbox One, Switch, PC, Mac, Linux. So you can expect that we'll probably take a similar approach.
And also, once this game was announced, Mina was getting Kickstarted.
Yep.
And I remember there was like a lot of talk about how why is Yacht Club kickstarting this game when they clearly could probably get this game made off their Hollow Knight or their Shovel Knight.
Everyone does it. It's fine.
Like, what did you guys explain like the thought behind doing a Kickstarter instead of just straight up?
Yeah, I mean, from the beginning, we're transparent about it. We said, you know, we're funding this game ourselves, and like it or not, one way or another, it's going to get made. You don't have to back it if you don't want to. You can just buy it when it comes out, and that's totally fine. But after the Shovel Knight Kickstarter especially, so many people have been begging us to do another one. If you followed Shovel Knight, you know that like $10 or $15 game that you may have kickstarted way back in 2013 turned into the best deal in video games ever.
Yeah.
So
give us $10 now, we'll give you 5 games later.
And it also afforded us like a lot of good opportunities to work with our backers and to involve them in the production of the game. Just like in Shovel Knight's Kickstarter, we had some like backer director for a day tiers that you could get so that fans had an opportunity to work with us on like designs that actually go into the game. It's also just like a good way to like market a game, you know? We don't want the game to like go under the radar and nobody plays it, and so getting people invested and taking them like along for the ride, I think, is just a smart idea. The Kickstarter was a smash hit, though. We set our stretch goal very cheap, or our initial funding amount very cheekily. It was basically just the amount of money that Shovel Knight made plus $1 exactly. Oh, let me like disable that demo timer for you. Secret command here. I think people get like defensive and weird when money's involved, and they assume we're like trying to screw somebody over. But I hope, you know, as we keep making games, I hope we just keep making Kickstarters and say it doesn't matter how much money we may or may not have in the bank. Like, it's an opportunity to pay for a game that you love. Like, what's wrong with that?
Especially since I could see this being like another one of the next big things, one of the next big indie games of the. And there's like an estimated release date of like 2023, yeah?
We had to put a date on there. Like, when you set up the Kickstarter, there's a field, and it's like, what's the estimated like release date? We just chose the latest possible one. but you know, in the body of the thing, we explain like we don't have a release date. It'll come out when it's actually ready. But as a result, people have this expectation that it's going to come out in December of 2023.
Oh yeah, when it's ready, yeah.
Yeah. We're aiming for like late this year, but it seems unlikely that we'll be able to hit that. And if you know anything about Yacht Club Games, you know that we have never released a game without delaying it at least once. So it might take a little bit longer in the oven, but just like anything, we're not going to put it out until we're really happy with it.
Already this combat, I'm feeling it's like I'm in the early area, but yep. I'm like, okay, I gotta play the game, I gotta be a gamer, hold up.
This is definitely a game where if you just try to mash your face against the enemies, you will get your butt kicked very quickly. But if you do like anything else, you'll realize you have like a lot of options for dealing with stuff. You can burrow away like at any time, and you can go under most enemies, every enemy in this demo anyways.
Yeah, like you end up in the middle of like 4 enemies like I've been getting in the last couple minutes here.
Now you're strategizing.
The hammer's sick, that's the thing. And it literally just popped.
You're picking it up pretty quickly. The hammer's like the most nuanced one.
Yeah, I like the
we were just working on these new weapons like last week before we got on the plane. So it's cool to see them in action, really kind of for the first time.
Did I already ask the question of why switch to Mina after being with Hollow Knight for so long?
I mean, because we were making so many Shovel Knight games for like so long, right?
Yeah.
I think we were starting to get kind of like burned out on after like working on Treasure Trove from 2013 to 2020. Yeah. That's like a really long development time for so we definitely knew we needed to like do something new that hopefully is still like in our wheelhouse and plays to our strengths. So it was always the plan to, like, you know, be a mini Nintendo and branch out and have, like, lots of cool franchises and properties. My hope is that, like, Mina can be just as big as Shovel Knight, and we can find the room, too, to, like, do another game, too, and a whole nother franchise. Shovel Knight's like our Mario, Mina's like our Zelda, right? But now I'm thinking, like, what should our, like, Metroid be, or whatever? We're always, like, thinking in terms of, like, making the games as impressive and big and fun and cool as possible. And that, like, bleeds into everything from the game design, the scope of the projects, right? And even, like, the character design. Mina's, like, the way that she is because it was like, okay, Shovel Knight's a blue man who wears armor and he's human. Well, as far as we know, anyways. So if we're going to have, like, a diverse and cool cast of memorable characters, we should do a red girl character who's not a human, and instead of armor, what's the opposite of that? I guess, like, a cloak.
Mix it up a little bit.
Yeah.
So if you had to maybe give, like, a scale of how big the world, how, like, there's, like, how many different major areas in the game so far?
In this demo, you're going to see most of one of our big areas. I would say, depending on how you slice them up, the final game will have between 6 and 8, depending on what what counts, I guess, without getting too much into spoilers. Let's say like 8 big main areas like that, and a big town in the center of the map that you'll be passing through all the time, talking to NPCs, buying things at shops, and then a little bit of an overworld to explore with some secrets and caves and items. Yeah, I mean, it's a blessing and a curse, but it's hard for us to, like, half-ass anything. If we're gonna try and deliver on the feeling of a Zelda game, I think that, like, scope of an adventure is part of that feeling. So I'd expect, getting through this game will probably, on average, take a little bit longer than something like a Shovel Knight campaign. It'll be bigger. This is all really good hammer footage. You're spacing it correctly. You're doing good with it. So you knock down that rope, you can use it as a shortcut now.
A little extra touches of the animation. I'm just like, I'm seeing it already. I'm just like, okay. Alright. A lot of the Souls community is going to love this one.
Absolutely.
A lot of the Castlevania community and Souls community. Zelda fans that also want to get a little bit of extra difficulty going on here. There's a lot of for a lot of audiences in this one specific IP here, so that's really good.
There's a checkpoint right there. You might want to, like, snake around and grab it before you fight this guy. So he's all electrified when you load in like that, because he has your spark, because he's the last person that killed you. If you defeat him, you can get it back. Just like that.
Oh, okay, so those are basically like my extra lives type of thing? Okay.
You'll never get sent backwards in progress, really, from dying. It's not like you, like, game over or anything, but if you don't have any sparks of life to revive Mina, then when you revive and come back at the Underlab, you'll lose all of your bones. So that way there's stakes in, like, a moment-to-moment way, but it's still easy to progress through the game without feeling like you gotta replay giant sections of content ever. The file name for that enemy is Annoying Bird.
No.
Tactical retreat. Ooh, we got 1 pixel of health left. You gonna fight him? Oh god.
Oh, fairy. Okay, fairy fountain vibes. Okay.
Very what?
I was like fairy fountain vibes.
Oh.
You again.
The Mother 3 hot spring was on my mind a lot for that one. Gotcha. There you go. It's a big hit. You really start like feeling the souls part when you're like, I'm gonna run past the enemies. And then it's like, oh god, they're chasing me.
They're still here.
Maybe this was a bad idea. But after a few times, you remember the route. You get really good at burrowing. And you're like, no, I just gotta get past them.
I'm thinking it's like the speed runs of this game are gonna actually be really cool to watch.
Oh yeah.
Once people get really good at the tech and all that other stuff.
We're just really into speedrunning ourselves. It's hard not to like make
Hollow
the
Knight
game.
runs are really good. Shovel Knight runs are really good.
That's by design, you know. At the end of like working on pretty much any of those campaigns, I would specifically go and do like a speedrunner pass across the whole game, thinking like, okay, let me put myself in the shoes of somebody that's trying to speedrun this game. How can I like limit any frustration there, or make it like more interesting or challenging with that lens in mind? So you move like a lot of moving platforms into place such that if you're like going full speed, they're like there right at the right moment, you know, you don't have to like wait 1 second for it. You put a lot of like intentional shortcuts in there where it's like, oh, a clever person could probably like do this. So cool thing about the daggers is like try attacking really fast right now. They're pretty speedy, but now throw it again. Now you've only got the 1. So your attack speed's a little slower. But throwing that thing, if you chuck it, does like really good damage. And, you know, the daggers are intentionally, you know, they have really poor range. So being able to throw one of them is a big boon. Going all in on knives.
Oh,
There it goes.
So there is the base objective and the base story that Mina's going through, but also since we mentioned like the Souls genre a couple times here, is there also kind of like an overarching like environmental storytelling type of thing going on here that players can find out while they're
Definitely,
exploring the areas? Yeah.
I think as you go from one to the next, you'll start piecing together kind of the mystery organically. And then within each zone, there's like smaller stories to tell. But in order to feel like you're discovering those mysteries for yourself, I think the player has to actually be able to discover them for yourself. So if you just gun it through the game, it's not going to really like slow you down to like tell you all that lore, but like hidden in the nooks and crannies is like a lot of that information.
Oh, not you again.
Nice, nice.
Are there any plans to release like a demo build for like Steam or anything like that in the near future?
Not in the near future. Traditionally, we've shied away from doing public demos like that. The thinking has kind of been that like,
You'll play it when it's ready.
I mean, I don't think people need a demo to know if they would enjoy this game or not. I think it speaks for itself in a very plain way.
Definitely.
And over the years, I've kind of thought, I'm not convinced that doing a demo like makes the game more of a success necessarily. I'm thinking about like the demos I played when I was younger. I played the Skate demo on Xbox 360 like 1,000 times because it was a good demo that let you like do whatever you want. Me and my brother would just like play horse basically, and we'd do cool skate tricks, and we never bought that game because we didn't feel like we needed to.
Because you kind of got what you needed out of the demo.
Yeah. Having said that, though, the pandemic really like changed my thinking about that, and maybe in this new internet-forward world, it might make sense to do something like that, just to get the game in front of more eyeballs. We've been talking about maybe doing like a Steam Next Fest type thing. I don't know. Doing a demo is also like a lot of work. You have to kind of pause working on the main game and start working on like wrapping things up and putting them into a demo format. So you've got enough bones to upgrade your defense. Or you could say, nah, I'm going to wait until I get more and upgrade something better.
Ah, I see. So that's like the risk and reward situation. And also, if I didn't want to use it, I could also turn the bones into money, which I could use to...
Yeah, the coward's way out. You can bank out at 1,000.
Is there a way to go back to that menu if I said no?
No, you gotta wait for the next level up now.
Oh.
You're committed. You gotta get 800 now. You still got a spark, though. You can die at least once. Actually, maybe you should have boned up, because as an extra bonus, no pun intended, you get all your health back whenever you bone up. So it can come in clutch. Sometimes you're like, I didn't want to level up, but like I really just need a full health bar right now. Glad to see you using the D-pad. Most people use the analog stick to play this game, and it makes it 100 times harder.
When I was playing like Shovel Knight, I was like, I'm gonna use the D-pad for this.
Definitely. Which weapon's been your favorite so far?
Honestly, they're all good. They're all pretty good, but I do feel like her Night Star isn't my favorite though.
No.
Like that's probably my least favorite of the three. I think for the speed's sake, I like the Whisper and Vesper, and then secondary, I like the hammer because of that charge, and also the dodge roll.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can tell.
But the range.
We got a gamer over here. The whip is like old reliable.
They give me some like alternative firing methods. I'm like, whoa. But also, yeah, I'm really liking the way that's the dig can be used, like you said, as a mechanic in terms of maneuverability, and also just in combat too.
Yeah. We wanted to be really like limited and judicious with our buttons, right? We don't want to add actions unless we can squeeze the maximum amount of gameplay out of them. So being able to use it to like build up speed, cross pits, avoid enemies in battle, and like dig under certain like secret walls and use it for that means we're getting exploration mileage out of it, we're getting combat mileage out of it, we're getting platforming out of it.
So now, since I lost my spark and I died,
they're all gone.
I lost all the bones, which means I'm now level 1, I'm square one.
Yep.
Boning up.
Yep.
I see.
You got 100 in the bank though, so it ain't nothing. Might want to keep him in there for now though.
Oh, and that's like the bottom thing, the 800K.
Yep.
Okay. to be what is the early area of the game, and I haven't really seen anything yet. This is a good first area. This is a good like training area.
In the final game, this will be like one of your first options.
Oh, so this is going to be like multiple options of, oh, I went through this way first.
Yeah, structurally, it will be more like a Zelda 1 situation, where like you could go to the final area right at the start if you wanted to. Probably get your butt kicked, but like we're not going to stop you. In the final game, you'll play through like an intro area that everyone has to go to, and then it kind of opens up. You'll have a couple of options right at the start. You can go to the crypt where you're at right now, or you can go to the bayou, which is like a swampy level. So these are like, you know, they're in the beginning of the game, but it's not like the first thing you're going to be playing through. It's like a few hours in.
Yeah, this is definitely going to be one of those games where it's like, Mina the Hollower is on multiple consoles, but like, you got to get on the Switch.
Definitely. Dude, that's the only console that like is kind of a portable. This is supposed to be like a Game Boy game, but like there's no 3DS anymore, there's no Vita. Like it's, I think, gonna be hard for people to like play this without blowing it up to their like gigantic TV.
Oh, okay, I see.
One more hit. Got him.
And also for the soundtrack, same audio guy or audio team as the Shovel Knight?
Yeah, Jake Kaufman returns for a brand new, amazing soundtrack. He does all the sound effects too.
Yeah, the audio design on Shovel Knight was like top notch for sure.
Yeah, I'm really excited about it.
Would you say there's a track that is up front as at least on your end on the dev side, that you found is as memorable as the first 1-1 level of like Shovel Knight so far? Like
the Plains of Passage, Strike
like
the Earth.
Yeah, like that'll be like Mina's theme song kind of situation.
I'm like really in love with the song that's in the trailer and all the like themes and motifs that you hear in there that may or may not pop up again throughout your adventure. Good hook jump. Ooh, close one. Shovel Knight soundtrack was like an NES soundtrack pretty authentically, but using the VRC6 expansion chip, which was in a few games like Castlevania 3, Dracula Curse for Famicom.
Oh my god.
Even the enemies can burrow. But this time we're doing something similar. It's like, how do we like beef up the sound of a Game Boy just a little bit to be more full, a little bit more appealing? So it's a brand new audio engine Frankensteined together, basically, consisting of like authentic Game Boy sound channels with a mix of like MSX channels, which feels like equivalent hardware, but like gives it a slightly fuller sound. Shovel Knight had Minami Matsume guest compose a couple of tracks, legendary Mega Man 1 composer. This time we're partnering up with Yuzo Koshiro, another industry legend, to make some amazing guest tracks. look over here, there's one of these like little burrow secrets I was talking about.
Oh, okay. So it's one of the like one in doubt, go on the burrow it out.
Yeah. Since the Game Boy resolution is like so constrained, we were thinking a lot about how do we like squeeze more gameplay into the spaces that we're creating. So I was like, how about the level could contain like sub-levels if you like burrow under certain walls. Then like one screen can house like twice as much stuff if it needs to. And you feel smart and cool for like figuring it out, and you feel like you're in Mina's shoes and you're burrowing, you're exploring. Ooh.
This is a good game. This is a good game. You ever just had that where you're like, damn, this is a good game?
Nah, never. It's my job to find the problems with this game so we can make it better. That's all I see.
It's alright.
I guess it's pretty good.
The relief you feel when you find one of these. It's like the equivalent of finding a campfire in Dark Souls. I'm just like, thank you, Jesus.
Definitely.
So how did you guys manage with the, I guess, the getting the systems of having the sparks for like the replayability, or like at least having the saving your bones, and then like, okay, what challenges are we going to give these players between these checkpoints to where it feels fair, but also it's like, yeah, like having that difficulty in between.
Yeah. Having good, reliable structure,
yeah,
I think is always good. Especially when you can subvert it, right?
Oh, I can jump over it? Okay.
You got options. You got 400 bonestone dust now. Get it all.
That's a good name. That's a good word. Here.
We made the first iteration of the keys were just normal keys, and I remember a meeting where it's like, come on guys, we got to do something really dumb. We got to do something fun with it. So when you use it, she like flips it around, use the gear part to open it.
Oh, so you can choose which currency you use.
Yeah. They add together too, so you can like cover the difference with the other currency.
Okay.
It's all bones at the end of the day.
And that'll be my chest and the checkpoint, right?
You got a trinket, right? Yeah. If you select your trinkets, you can't change them out on the field, but you can look at them. So now you got the bellows bustle.
Okay, so I do have to be in the area to look at that.
Yeah. The trinkets are like all really powerful. So we don't want the player like getting to a new room,
And just be able to switch them out.
seeing a pit, and then thinking, okay, better open the menu and switch to this one.
You gotta earn the ability.
Yeah, it's more fun if you're like thinking about what loadout should I have for like the next little area, rather than like pausing the game all the time.
Also, there's a lot of unique NPCs so far in this first like area so far in this little bit of a demo I played.
Yep.
What's everyone's like favorite like NPC so far that I've seen?
A lot of people like Poppet here.
Good shopkeeper.
He's like a puppet. That's not a real guy. Someone's puppeteering him, basically. And as you encounter him at different places, you know, he's like stuck in the wall like this, or he's like coming out of the ground from a little hand. So each time you see him, you get to like, you get to piece together a little bit more. Like, what actually are you?
That's merch.
Definitely. Team members already like, we need a plush of that guy.
There's so many enemies in this game. There's so many.
Yeah, variety is the spice of life. When I play a lot of other games, I'm like, why are there only like 5 enemies? I'm so bored already. Something I heard early in my career that stuck with me was that like making a game or making a level setup or making any piece of content for a game is like making a magic trick, you know? You're like surprising the player with a question and an answer, and that only works like once. Once you know the magic trick, it's like not fun anymore. So you need a bunch of enemies so that you can keep showing the player new things.
Keeps them on there. And then when you get a whole bunch of different enemies in those fight rooms, they gotta like be real flexible about it.
Yeah, you got a really good combat room coming up. You might want to heal. You got the extra vials. Oh, too late. Just like a Dark Souls. That's like the advice that everyone has to hear.
You should heal. No, I'm good.
No, I don't need to. Dead.
I'm good. Oh.
Equipping a trinket.
Yeah, I get that one I just got there.
These are all designed to be like especially powerful. We want the player to be thinking about like, geez, which ones do I really want? Right now you can only have 2 because we don't want to overwhelm the player just for a demo. But in the final game you have like way more slots, and you'll be thinking like, okay, what are like the 5 trinkets I want to be equipping right now? Because most of them are like really moment-to-moment gameplay focused. A few of those were like boring intentionally. It's like defense goes up by 1, sidearm damage up by 1. We thought like, okay, we'll do like 1 of each of those just so they're represented. But for the most part, we want the player to be thinking about like how it should change the moment-to-moment gameplay. Try burrowing up and then dashing left. You can totally do what you're trying to do though. Down she goes.
Oh, no.
You only lost 300. Good thing you bought that stuff at the shop.
Oh, I don't have a mic.
Yeah. Like so excited for all the different ways that the player can like cheese things by using their brain, different equipment. that's kind of the neat thing about making a game that's more combat focused, is that you can allow the player to cheat that kind of stuff more often, because ultimately the enemies are still going to like test you. You got some axes. You could lob one over here at the necromancer. Deal with her now. Gotcha. Might want to heal. Might want to heal. Ah.
I don't know if you can answer this question, if it's a spoiler. You can just say yes or no. Is there an item that lets you burrow without jumping first?
Just instantly? You just pop into the ground? No, I think that would be too far. That means you could dodge any enemy attack whenever you wanted without thinking.
That's true.
I think that like
That's what your game is kind of
that lead time of like jumping into it makes you have to like think about it, and not play so like reactively, but more intentionally.
Those things the players think about, the devs are like.
Players always want. They just want like game genie. It's like you can just do that if you want. But you'll have a lot more fun if there's a challenge to actually consider. In my opinion, anyways. I don't know. I make action games.
How would you say I'm doing so far as compared to like most people that have played the game so far?
You're doing well. I find that people tend to be like really hard on themselves. You're supposed to like die. That's how you learn.
Yeah.
Players are never gonna like try something unless they have to. They need to fail before they can like succeed. I'll say it seems like the combat is like really clicking with you though.
Oh yeah, I really like it.
You seem like you're like playing very intentionally and like trying not to spam.
The movement too and stuff is really good.
Yeah, that's an element that I think is like super duper important. From the very get-go, it was like one of the biggest problems I think with like a 2D Zelda is that it ain't fun in a moment-to-moment basis to just move around, you know? Link just moves up, down, left, and right at one speed, and if you need to go from here to there, there's like no nuance to it. There's nothing you can do. You just gotta slowly truck your way there. Maybe you got the Pegasus boots, and you can do a little dashing, but like other than that, nothing. So we wanted to make sure that like the moment-to-moment stuff could be like really, really strong. Even just like moving around the game should be fun. Nice.
The way that it gets so good.
Now you're thinking, yeah. I'm loving what I'm seeing. You're playing like I play.
It's like I love that you guys give, like even though it looks retro, like then it's like the modern gameplay of like, yeah, you can do this. You can pick up that head and you can jump with it. Why wouldn't you be able to jump with it? You can throw it and it does damage or something.
That whole
no.
That whole sequence in that previous room over here, you got to put that in your video.
Oh yeah.
That was really that gameplay showed like really, really well. Bring the big guns for this room.
Let's try that again. I was like, I need this. Oh. Why would you do this to me? Okay.
Everyone's reactions to that room are hilarious. How could I possibly do it? Oh my god. Grouped up. That's good. That's good. There go the bones.
This is the room where you gotta like lean forward.
This is the lean forward combat room for sure.
That's wild, bro. That's wild. You have the necromancer revive the necro. Oh, okay. Illegal plays.
I love that. I love seeing the gears turn people's brains.
It's like, okay, I gotta kill the necromancer and I'm good. You can revive us. Okay, you gotta reroll, you gotta reroll. Oh, my bag of chips.
Is this still going?
Oh yeah, we're still. Oh yeah, we're good. We're good. Give me 1 second, man. Okay, we're still. The mental note of I hope it's still. Whoa. This has been a great demo. Thank you so much.
Glad you're liking it.
This is wild, bro. This is crazy. Okay.
Gotta go faster.
Fast,
You just gotta hunt them down. You can't worry about those other enemies. You also don't have to defeat them to move on. You could just grab the key and run.
There's a key. Oh my god.
After they revive, too, it takes a while to do the next one. So you got like some time right now. There you go. Okay, survive. You live. Remember to like break candles, too. Sometimes get some goodies out of there. Well, that was pretty much the worst thing you could get. But there you go. Rib cage in there.
Here.
Open, open, open. Go, 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 go.
say like maybe it's like top 3 games of the show for me.
Nice.
Yeah.
What are the other 2?
Born of Red with Dear Villagers, that Paper Mario like game.
Oh yeah.
That game's good. And also being able to play more Street Fighter 6. Like Street Fighter 6 is also really good. But games I haven't played before, Pizza Possum over at the Raw Fury booth.
Yeah.
It's also really good.
I need to find the time to go actually check any of this stuff out. Yesterday I was like, oh, I got 30 minutes, I'll go. And then I was like, oh, right, I forgot about lines. Oh, well. Good dodge.
You tell him the gameplay is like, oh, he's just over this shit right now. He just wants to go. I want to go, bro. I don't want to be here anymore, bro.
You're using your burrow tactically. Ain't nothing wrong with that.
The pause of okay. Oh man. Good game.
You're gonna do this without getting hit? There it is. You're out of axes now. Doesn't matter.
Good.
Wait, you thought it was over?
Good face.
Now that she's plunging her tentacles into the ground, you're starting to get some attacks that like can damage you while you're burrowing. And that's a concept that will continue to come up through the rest of the game.
Don't get the player comfortable. They're like, oh, you're taking away the thing that I've been doing this whole time.
I think it helps too that we like work on the stages from like beginning to end, you know? So it's like by the time we're finished with this one, it's like, all right, I'm like a master at all these enemies. Like what would be the next step to like elevate them and make them more challenging?
Honestly, I'm good with stopping it right there.
Yeah?
To be honest. Like seeing that boss and that has a second phase, we're gonna cut it right there. That was good.
That works out because we're just about out of time.
That was good, Alec. Y'all did it. Y'all did it again.
We're still doing it. Game ain't done yet. But
did it again.
I'll pass
Put a stamp
the
on
news. I'll pass the good word onto the team.
Oh man. thank you so much for
Yeah,
giving
of
me
course.
the opportunity to play this game here, getting a full-on hour with this, putting in extending that for me.
Thanks for
This is
showing
my
off your
first time.
skills. You were killing
This
it.
is my second PAX. This is my first year getting a content creator badge and getting media. I've been doing a lot of appointments.
Yeah.
Good appointment. Good. This is good. It's really great. And then definitely gonna be telling people to bookmark this one, keep it in their radar, because this is gonna stick with me definitely for sure. I'm gonna grab some of those mini. I want to have Mina on my
dude.
right there.
Check it out. This is you. Well, these are like 2 days old now, but
Really
you
good.
get it.
But guys, that was Mina the Hollower, Yacht Club Games, PAX East 2023. Shout out to Yacht Club Games for letting me check this out. Shout out to Alec for being here, giving me some commentary as I play and check out the game. And thank you so much.
Absolutely. My pleasure.
All right.